Welcome to ClarityGrit, where we break down the psychology of growth, confidence, and self-respect. What if I told you that you could memorize anything in half the time you think it takes? Not because you're gifted, not because you have a photographic memory, because you understand something most people don't. Your brain doesn't work like a hard drive. It works like a web. And once you know how to build that web, learning becomes almost unfair. Think about the last time you tried to memorize something. A presentation, a speech, an exam. What did you do? You read the same paragraph over and over. You highlighted things. You repeated the information like a robot. And then, when you needed it, your mind went blank. Sound familiar? That's not your fault. That's bad strategy. You were using your brain like a filing cabinet. But your brain isn't a filing cabinet. It's a jungle. And you need to learn how to move through it. Today, I'm going to give you 4 science-backed techniques to memorize anything so fast it's almost unfair. Not magic, not hacks. Real methods used by memory champions, medical students, and language learners. And you can start using them today. Let's get into it. Point 1. Use active recall, not passive review. Here's the mistake almost everyone makes. They read, reread, and reread again. They highlight, they underline. They feel like they're learning. But passive review is a lie. Your brain doesn't learn by seeing information. It learns by retrieving information. Active recall is simple. After you read something, close the book and force yourself to remember what you just read. No looking, no cheating. Just your brain fighting to pull the information out. That struggle, that's where learning happens. Here's an example. Instead of reading a textbook chapter 3 times, read it once. Then close the book and write down everything you remember. You'll feel uncomfortable. You'll forget things. That's the point. The act of retrieving strengthens the neural pathway. The next time you try to remember, it's easier. And the time after that was even easier. Stop passively reviewing. Start actively recalling. Point 2. Use spaced repetition. Your brain is designed to forget. That's not a flaw. That's a feature. If you remembered everything, your brain would be a cluttered mess. But you can trick your brain into keeping what matters by using spaced repetition. Here's the science. When you first learn something, you'll forget it within hours if you don't review it. But if you review it one day later, you'll remember it longer. Review it a week later, or even longer. A month later, it starts to stick. This is called the spacing effect. You don't need complicated software. Just a simple system. Learn something today. Review it tomorrow. Review it in 3 days. Review it in a week. Review it in a month. Each time you review, the memory gets stronger. And after a few cycles, it's locked in. Students who use spaced repetition remember 80% more than students who cram. 80%. That's not luck. That's leverage. Point 3. Use visualization and association. Your brain is terrible at remembering abstract facts, but it's amazing at remembering images, stories, and emotions. So stop trying to memorize like a robot. Start turning information into pictures. Here's a simple example. You need to remember a shopping list: milk, eggs, bread, and apples. Instead of repeating the words, create a mental image. Picture a giant egg cracking open and milk pouring out of it. A loaf of bread is floating in the milk, and an apple is sitting on top of the bread. The weirder the image, the better. Your brain will remember that scene instantly. Why? Because your brain evolved to remember visuals, not lists. This works for anything. Studying anatomy. Picture the heart as a house with 4 rooms. Learning a language. Link the foreign word to a silly image in your own language. The more ridiculous, the more memorable. Your brain is a visual machine. Feed it pictures, not words. Point 4. Teach what you learn. Here's the fastest way to know if you actually understand something. Try to teach it to someone else. Not an expert. A 5-year-old. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. When you teach, you're forced to organize the information in your own words. You find the gaps in your knowledge. You create a mental structure that makes sense to you. And that structure is what makes memory work. Imagine you're studying a historical event. Instead of rereading the chapter, pretend you're explaining it to a friend who knows nothing about it. Say it out loud. Simplify it. Use analogies. You'll quickly realize what you know and what you don't, and that clarity makes the information stick. Here's the secret. The person who learns the most in any classroom is the teacher, because teaching forces you to master the material. So be the teacher, even if your student is just a wall. What this looks like in real life. Imagine you have a presentation to memorize. The old way. Read your slides over and over. Stay up late cramming. Feel anxious. The new way. Read it once. Close your eyes and recall what you just read. Write down what you remember. That's active recall. The next day, review it again. Then wait 3 days. Review again. That's spaced repetition. While you're reviewing, turn key points into mental images. Picture your opening line as a door opening. Picture your closing statement as a key locking a lock. That's visualization. Finally, practice explaining your presentation to a friend or just to your mirror. Teach it out loud. That's the test. Do these 4 things, and you'll walk into that room knowing your material better than 95% of people. The bottom line, most people think memory is something you're born with. Either you have a good memory or you don't. That's a lie. Memory is a skill, and like any skill, it can be trained. Active recall, spaced repetition, visualization, teaching. These aren't tricks. They're how your brain was designed to learn. The students who memorize fast. The professionals who never forget names. The polyglots who learn languages in months. They're not special. They just understand how their brain works. And now, so do you. If this video blew your mind, if you're ready to stop struggling and start memorizing within fair speed, I need you to do something. First, hit that like button. It tells the algorithm that real, science-backed learning matters. Second, go down to the comments and type memory is a skill, not for me, as a reminder to yourself. A declaration that you're done believing you have a bad memory. And while you're down there, tell me what's one thing you've always struggled to memorize. Names, speeches, exams, let's talk about it. I read every comment. And if you're not subscribed yet, hit that button and ring the bell. We're building a community of people who learn faster, remember longer, and dominate their goals. You belong here. I'll see you in the next video. This is ClarityGrit. Stay strong, stay clear, and keep growing.